A short time later, my little brother, Luke, comes into the room. And I hated Luke seeing me upset, you know. We're like very close, you know, especially growing up. I was like Merlin the magician, and he was my faithful assistant, you know. It should have been the other way around. I reckon he should have been the magician, and I should have been his assistant. He could have put me in the box, sawed me in half, and you would have even known the difference, wouldn't you? So when he came into my room, and I was crying my eyes out, I didn't want him to see that. So I put my head down. I tried and dry my tears as much as I could. I look up and I catch his reflection in the mirror. And I start all over again. I can't handle it anymore, Luke. Thanks for being my brother, my best mate. I love you a lot. I'm going to kill myself tonight. He didn't say a word. He got up, made his way to the door, and as he approached the door, I said, Luke, I just told you I was going to kill myself. You don't say anything. You get up and leave. He turned around and looked at me and said, well, if you're going to kill yourself, I want to help. He said, I'm going to go and get you the gun. And I went, holy crap. Do you know what he made me realise? He made me realise that I wasn't dead. How dare I complain that I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even get out of his wheelchair. How dare I complain I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even feed himself. How dare I complain I have a few thumbtacks in my hands when he's my best mate Kenny, who can't even say hello. I don't hate people that complain, but maybe we need to look at what we're complaining about. Let me ask you, studio audience, and if you're at home or in the office or wherever you are, in a friend's place, have a go at this too. Ask yourself, and for the studio audience, put your hand up for me, if you have ever complained about your hair on your head, this stuff right here. Put your hand up if you've ever complained about it. Too long, too short. Come on, put your hands up. Most of you, do me a favour. Next time you want to complain about your hair, go on over to one of the local hospitals, into the oncology ward, which is cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer 3.5 years ago. You go in there and complain to those people who don't have an ounce of hair on their body. You go and tell them that your hair's not right. And if you can walk away with a smile on your face, then you're a bigger person than I'll ever be. Let me ask you one more question, and at home or in the office as well. Please, how many of you have complained about your shoes? Come on, put your hands up if you've ever complained about your shoes. Too big, too small, oh, they give me blisters. Yes? A lot of you. You want to swap? There's mine. Right there. You want to swap? What about you? Do you want to swap? Let me know when you're ready. And I will swap you any day. Any day. I'd love to ride a push bike. Or kick a soccer ball. Maybe ride a motorbike. Go dancing. Rose, I'd love to go dancing with you, love. You want to swap, let me know. I'll swap you today. My little brother left. My beautiful mother comes into the room. My loving mother. Sits down on my bed. I climb up there with her. And mums, and only mums can do this. You know the special hugs you get from mums? You know the ones where mums wrap their arms around you and pull you so close. You can feel their heartbeat on your face. I can feel my mum's hand. You can hear it. It's so special. My mum's crying and her tears fall onto my cheeks. She squeezed me closer. And she says, John, you are the most beautiful thing that has ever happened in our lives. Now straight away, I only hope that she shared those words with my brothers and my sister. Because to me, we're all the same. We're no different. You cut me, I bleed. Tell me a story and I'll cry. We breathe the same oxygen. We have the same colour blood. So David, you're a little bit taller than I am. But I'm a bit better looking. We are all the same. No different whatsoever. None whatsoever. All the same. She squeezes me a bit closer. I catch a few more tears. She gives me a kiss on the forehead. Then walks out of my room. My dad came home from work. Came straight into my room. And he roughed me up a little bit. My dad and I were fans of which used to be the WWF, you know the wrestling? WWF?
Yeah.
I always think I'm the Rock, you know, I'm the Rock. And he's just a fat bastard. No. He roughs me up, you know, throws me on the bed, leads with a couple of elbows and gets the anger out of my body. And he wraps his arms around me. He squeezes me that tight and nearly squeezes me in half, which would have been great. It would have been a quarter of a person. Squeezes me close and says, promise me one thing, son. Promise me you'll never ever go down to their level. Let them try and step up to yours. Away, go and have them amputated. And at that stage, in fact, even today, that is still the best decision I've ever made in my life. I went down to the local butcher shop, hopped on the bandsaw, off they went. Then I took them home and I gave them to the dog, and he had a great feed for about a week. He loved them. I'm only joking. The poor cameraman nearly had a heart attack just then. So he's got the 5 minute sign too. God, he's going to give me the wrap back in a minute, isn't he? Now, I was in hospital for 3.5 weeks. The operation took 92 minutes. I lost almost 4 pounds in 92 minutes. Do you have Weight Watchers here? I bet they can't do a good job like that, can they? After I got out of hospital, I wrote down my goals while I was in hospital. I wrote down my goals. My number one goal when I got out of hospital was to drive a car, to get my driver's license. I watched my elder brother for years and years and years get his driver's license. I thought, well, if he can do it, so can I. So I got out of hospital. I went and saw my dad, and I said, find out what we need to do. And he came back a week later, my dad, And he said, it's pretty obvious you can't drive any normal car. Duh. Good on you, Dad. He said, you have to save up your money, go and buy a car, go and get your licence. So I did. I was working one job at the time, not earning enough money, so I went and got another job. He's half a man, half a body, working 2 jobs, not 1, 2, to make his dreams come true. What are you doing? Went and bought a car. Went and got my driver's licence. And now today, I have special hand control now that I take with me all around the world. Any automatic, I can drive it. It's great. The freedom, the manoeuvrability, the independence is one very, very special thing. On my car at home in Sydney, Australia, my number plates. You have special number plates over here that say words? You can have things put on them? No? On my car in Australia, my number plates actually say no legs. N-O-L-E-G-S. No legs. People drive past and go, yeah, sure you have no legs. And I go, it's fair dinkum. And I show them, look. Then all of a sudden they're like, ah! It's great. We can learn so much from so many different people. My sources of inspiration. My mum and dad. My mum and dad. They made my life when they said, no, we're taking him home. They gave me a life that day. They gave me a great life that day. And they took me home. And it was something very special. I cannot tell you how proud of them I am for what they have given me over the last 33 years, and hopefully what they will give me for the next 33 years. I have 2 very special women in my life. One of them is my mother, and she's an angel brought down on this earth to look after me. That's her job. I don't care about my brothers and sisters. They're just a bunch of retards. Don't worry about them. So they can look after themselves. And another one is my ex-wife. My ex-wife taught me a lot about myself. I married Mrs. Wright. Did you know that? I married Mrs. Wright. However, I didn't know her first name was Always. And I'm learning very quickly about different things in one's life. But I worked out why she married me. 5 reasons why my ex-wife married me. Number 5, I'll never walk out on her. Yeah, got it, mate. Got the 5-minute sign. Throw it away. Number 5, I'll never walk out on her. Number 4, she gets all the hanging space in the wardrobe. Number 3, she gets most of the bed. That's important, isn't it? I don't sleep in the bed. I sleep inside a pillowcase on the floor. It's like I go camping every night. Number 2, John, what's a woman's favourite hobby?
Cooking.
No, you married the right person. Okay? Shopping. Women love to shop. Am I right, boys?
Yeah.
Where do you park when you take a disabled person shopping? Yeah, right at the front. Very good. That's probably why your wife married you, John. No. And the number 1 reason why my ex-wife married me? Well, I actually believe that I'm every female's dream. Am I right, Desiree? Am I a good sort?
Yes.
You know why women married me? Or why Trish married me? Who wouldn't want to marry a young man that can stand up and his penis drags on the ground? But anyway, you don't need to know about that. So, I know that's a terrible joke, isn't it? It's true though. No, don't go there. So let me just, the young lady at the back is really laughing her head off. Let me just ask you, if I can do it, why can't you? If I can do it, why can't you? He's half a bloke who now travels all around the world nothing stands in his way except for big dogs. That's all. Nothing stands in his way. You should have said I went down to the local shopping mart here. Which one was that, Stephen? What was it called? Who? Suntec City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went down there. Thousands of people. Thousands. You know what that means? Thousands and thousands of legs everywhere. You know what that means? A lot of dresses. No, don't get that. You know, if I can do it, I'm out of my comfort zone all the time. If I can do it, why can't you? Get out of your comfort zone all the time. It's good for you. Half a bloke travels all around the world. Imagine what you guys can do. Don't ever give up on yourself. Who's got some questions? Time for a drink.
Our first question is from David Poe from Singapore. In spite of your condition, you are very motivated, and your outlook in life sets an example for what normal people should be and should do. What is it that keeps you so motivated and positive in life? Can you share it with us?
Is this you, David? Yep. Thank you for the short question. It's great. I'm a big believer that motivation lasts for 10 minutes, inspiration lasts a lifetime. My goal, every talk that I present, is to inspire one person to get off their backside and have a go. Sources of inspiration for me, my mum and dad. As I said earlier, if it wasn't for them, where would I be? What would I be doing? My best mate, Kenny. He taught me a lot. I think the number one thing that he taught me from a young age was that most of us are born with 2 eyes, 2 ears, and only 1 mouth, which I believe we all should look and listen twice as much as we speak. I think if we can do that, this world will be a whole lot better place. My brothers, my sister, my grandmother, my nieces and nephews, we can also be inspired a lot by kids. Just like John gets inspired by his 10-year-old. Am I right?
Right.
Yeah. Don't lose that, mate. Don't ever lose that. I look today and kids today are growing up so differently because the parents are so different. Parents today are why? When it should be like, hey, why not? You know, so we find different sources of inspiration. Oh, I do, from everywhere I go. My website gets 300,000 hits a month. We get about 800 letters a day come into my office. That's not bad for someone who grew up in a small country town. No, the town was so small, dirt was my toy. You know, so we didn't have a lot. But now, you know, I think and I hope that I do inspire one person at every talk that I do. And that comes back tenfold. So that's where I draw from. Next.
Our next question is also from Singapore, from Ronnie.
Where's Ronnie?
I do agree with you that everyone has a disability. How can one see or remove this disability to be happy in life?
You'll never ever move it. You will never ever move that disability. What you need to do is take it on board instead of trying to hide it. Stand in front of a mirror, naked, no clothes on. Don't laugh at yourself too much, because I find when I used to do that, I used to laugh all the time. I could never be serious. But stand in front of the mirror naked and say to yourself, well, you know, I have no legs. Nothing is going to change that. So instead of worrying about the things we can't do, let's take all of our energy and all our focus and put them into the things we can do. You know, just like I'm never going to kick a football. Some of you, you know, may not be brain surgeons. Some of you probably are. But some of you are not going to be brain surgeons. You know, just like I'm never going to ride a push bike. Some of you may not be politicians. So instead of worrying about the things that we cannot do, let's take all that energy and all that focus and put them into the things we can do. And I don't believe in giving 110% or 120%. Because physically and theoretically, you cannot do that. But you can most certainly give it your best shot. which will be 100%. So that's how I do it, mate. Don't ever say you don't have one. Believe you do. Take it on board. Maybe put it aside. Be true to yourself. Yes, I have a disability, so there are things that I can't do. Then get on with life. Next.
This next question is from the internet. What illnesses are the children you talk about suffering from?
Hello, internet. All different types of cerebral palsy, brain injuries, muscular dystrophy, MA, MS, polio back in those days. Many, many, many. There are literally hundreds of thousands of different things, especially those days when they didn't have a real lot of name for them. If you were born with a disability in the era I was, you were called a spastic or a retard. It didn't matter what disability you had. You may have been blind, you may have been deaf. No matter what disability it was, you were called a spastic or a retard. So there are many different types of disabilities that are in those horrible, horrible places. Right, mate?
Our next question is from someone from Indonesia. Are you married now? Do you have any children?
No kids yet, but it is good fun practicing. I'm not married. No, not married. So are there any takers? Any girls? That's right, put your hand up. No. Rose, put your hand up.
What do you see as the most rewarding event in your life?
I have three that are pretty much well on par with one another. One of them I don't remember, I was too young, but Mum and Dad giving me the start to life. Obviously moulded me for who I am today. The second one was myself making the choice to have my legs amputated. Gave me a new lease on life, no one else's decision but mine. And thirdly, getting my driver's license, giving me the independence to be like everybody else. So they're the top three. Right, mate. Next one.
Next question is from Winnie from Hong Kong. What advice can you give to us able-bodied people who are lost and very disappointed in life?
Able-bodied people who are lost and disappointed in life, was it?
Yeah.
Who are lost and disappointed in life. Seriously? Some of you might not like this, but you have no one else to blame but you. You make that choice. No one else. I can't control you. No one else can control you. Only you can control you. So you need to dig deep and find hard something not only inside your heart, but also inside your soul. And come back. Look at Hong Kong. It's a beautiful place. I've been there. The fastest place I've ever been in the world. The fastest. I walked out onto the sidewalk and got trampled to death. The only place I've ever felt like a speed bump was in Hong Kong. Good shopping, very good shopping, but and two different lives. Like there's a day life and then there's the night life, and you live in a great place. Don't be too hard on yourself either. You know, have your little goals set. Start off very minimum. Three goals. Have one set maybe for the end of the week, then the end of the month, then the next one the next month. And when you've achieved one of them, cross it off, write on something new, and give yourself a pat on the back, because that pat on the back is going to give you confidence and courage to get through the next one. Don't forget that. Next.
Last question.
Last question. Lucky ones.
What advice would you give to parents of those with disabilities?
What advice would I give to parents who have disabilities? No. To parents who have kids with disabilities. Is that right?
Correct.
Obviously there are children in this world who are going to need 24-hour care. Where's this question coming from? Up in here or out on the net?
From the net.
From the net. Thank you, net. What is it, like tennis net or hair net? Maybe a net. Look, there are people in this world that do need 24-hour care. I'm not saying there aren't. But I would like to get them care. first of all. Let's get them proper care. For those of you who have kids with disabilities, who have a little bit of quality of life, the most important thing is, let them be them. Don't wrap them in cotton wool. Let them get dirty. For goodness sake, you can take them inside and bath them. You have hot water. I hope you have hot water. You've got the internet, then you've got hot water. So please, let them grow up and experience things. I've had a lot of friends that have had terminal disabilities, and terminal by I mean by the time they get to 16, 20, 25 years of age, they're no longer with us. And their parents knew from a young age that they had this disability and they never experienced anything. And they weren't happy when they died. They weren't happy at all. And then I've had other friends who have had disabilities that were terminal. Some of them never knew. You die, you die. But then there are other ones that knew but still lived a very fulfilling life because their parents, instead of caging them up, let them free. They looked after them, but they gave them a quality of life. So, number one, let them be them. Number two, you be you. That's also pretty important. Although I do find it a bit hard, to give advice on raising kids when I don't have any. I don't believe in that sort of stuff, but as I said, I was a kid, I do have a disability. You should see my father too. He's the biggest disability you'll ever see in your life. So, it's important that the most important thing is that you can love from your heart, no matter the circumstances involved. And that's the most important thing.
Are there any final words you would like to leave with us?
Any final words that I'd like to leave you with? I better make it good, the boss just walked in. I would just like to say that no matter what part of the world you're in, when you get out of bed in the morning, you're off to a great start. You think you're having a bad day, try missing it. Because any day above ground's got to be a great one. So live, love and be happy. And life, it's not just for existing, but it's for living. So really live it. Grab it with both hands and really live it. That's all you can do. Thank you very, very much.